Bands like I Mother Earth, Our Lady Peace, and the Tea Party were at one point or another at the forefront of the Canadian rock scene. Now what happens when you take members from each of those bands and introduce them to a man with a plan? You get Crash Karma. This Canadian supergroup formed back in 2008 with members Edwin, Mike Turner, Jeff Burrows, and Amir Epstein. Even though these four guys never really left the music scene, they've renewed that passion once again for playing in front of live audiences. While touring coast to coast to promote their self-titled debut album, they made a stop in Lethbridge, and we had a chance to catch up with Mike Turner and talk about life on the road. Mike Turner, it's an honor. From Crash Karma, thanks so much for being here.
My pleasure.
Been looking forward to this.
Awesome.
Welcome to Lethbridge.
Thank you.
How now here you guys got some snow in Vancouver on Saturday, so
well,
following
yeah,
you.
We even got snow in Nanaimo. We're in Nanaimo, and people say it never snows here. It snowed on us.
It's BC. It's supposed to be warm.
Well, exactly. It's the tropics of BC. We didn't get that. We got snow. So
well,
yeah, not so bad.
Well, you get it in all the minus 20 temperature too here, so.
Yeah, we didn't get the minus 20 there. That's for sure.
Yeah, well, we're hitting you with the whole deal here. Now, you guys have been touring across Canada to promote your self-debut title album. How's the tour been going?
It's been going awesome.
Yeah.
I've had so much fun on. We basically gone coast to coast. We've gone from St. John's to Nanaimo. So I guess unless we actually went out and played in Tofino and got a boat and went further east, that's it. We've done it edge to edge. So
that's not happening.
No, no plans. I'll never say never, but as it stands, we don't have plans to do any shows on a boat. But yeah, it's been awesome. I've been having a lot of fun. You know, the age of Facebook and etc. Whether you want pictures of your experience or not, you're going to get them.
Yeah.
And these ones seem to show me with a big dumb grin on my face a lot. So I have to look at that as a good thing.
Seeing your true colors, that's what it's all about, right?
I suppose, yeah.
Now, it looks like you guys have been having a ton of fun. Obviously, it's a good core group of guys. Is it nice to be back on stage again? Kind of
Yeah, always. I mean, I was happy to get more into the studio thing after OLP and really sort of found my feet in that environment more than I ever had. And I didn't really realize that as much as I missed it because I was busy and amusing myself. And then the first time we actually played together, we played, Jeff, our drummer, does a lot of charity work. And one of the things he does in Windsor is for a charity that refits hospital beds for a children's cancer ward. Mm-hmm. One of the things he does is a 24-hour drum marathon. So he plays drums for 24 hours.
Wow. With
everyone that'll step up.
Yeah.
And that was the first time we played together. We joined him in like hour 23. And so he's got the 1,000-yard stare. Yeah. But it was sort of instant, this like, oh yeah, that's what this feels like. Mm-hmm. And with these guys, it just, the chemistry was right away.
Yeah, and you left, because when you left OLP in 2001, you kind of got into more of the production and stuff like that, and now, you're almost 10 years later, and you're back doing your thing on stage. And
yeah, I mean, I'm still doing the production thing too. That's the great thing, about where I am right now. I've got the opportunity to play with these amazing musicians and work towards bettering what we are as Crash Karma. And I work with, young indie bands, and I mean, I've worked with everything from East Indian classical music, purely as an engineer, didn't know anything what was going on other than, it sounds really cool, to, I did a record of Depression-era swing, working on a jazz record, working on some sort of really cool indie music. So Ed's got a great saying. He says, the more you love music, the more music you love.
Oh, with all I've seen, I've had enough. Time to tell, I'm finally away.
Music is huge, and everywhere you can get inspiration from, I prefer to go after it.
Yeah. Now, on stage with you is Edwin, formerly from I Mother Earth, and Jeff Burrows from Tea Party, and then Amir Epstein from Zygote.
Yep, a Toronto band called Zygote. Yeah.
How did you guys get together to form this band?
Well, that's sort of Amir's thing. As I was alluding to earlier, the whole production thing. I produced an EP for Amir as a solo artist and a record for his band Zygote, and that's how we knew each other. And he knew the studio. He's also a prolific and talented songwriter, and had through another friend sort of arranged to meet with Edwin to talk about writing with Edwin for Edwin's next solo record. On the way to the meeting, Amir has a flash and decides, it would be cooler if it was a band. Not really having any concrete plan of that or having done any research. And so he pitches it to Edwin, and to hear Edwin's side of it. He says, I'm sitting here and this guy's saying, we'll put a band together, and it'll be Mike from Our Lady Peace and Jeff from the Tea Party, and all I'm thinking is, who are you again? But, you know, fast forward a few months, and there we were. And obviously Jeff and Ed and I had known each other. You know, Edwin with I Mother Earth, they were the first band that took Our Lady Peace out.
Yeah.
So we've got a long, long history.
Cool, yeah.
And, you know, we're all, I guess a little bit of trepidation, because, you know, we were all sort of at different points in our lives and doing other things. But once we started working together and the sort of creative things started to happen, it was pretty easy. We've almost forced this thing to make us take it seriously.
Yeah.
You know, we're just going to do a few songs. We'll just see how it goes, and okay, we'll just play those songs for a couple. I guess we have an agent now. Okay, so I guess we better be alive. We have a manager now. Okay, I guess we better start taking this seriously.
It's not just the grads jamming anymore, hey?
Well, I mean, it's not that it is or isn't that. I'd be totally happy if it was. But our thing was to just do the best we can and put it out there and let other people, you know, sort of be the determinants. You know, like Ralph Janes, the president of the agency group, tells us, "I want to be your agent because I really like this."
Yeah.
Okay, that's saying something. You know, his other artists are like, you know, 3 Days Grace and Billy Talent and Nickelback. He's a little bit busy.
A little bit.
So when he says he wants to work with us, we thought, oh, I guess maybe this is a viable thing we should take seriously.
Yeah.
So that's what I mean when I say we forced it to make us take it seriously. So, and it has, turn by turn.
Did you ever have any concerns or worry about, because obviously all four of you guys have great musical paths with all your bands and whatnot. Was there ever any concern that you weren't going to be able to gel or take those four different perspectives and make it into one?
Not really. I mean, you never know what you're going to do creatively. You can say, we're going to work together creatively, and then you get in the room and you end up staring at each other like, what
Where do we
now?
go from here? Yeah.
Yeah, but, you know, once we sort of crossed that hurdle and got comfortable working around each other and realized that we're all pretty easy to work with, there were really no, I mean, everything fits together so well, it's you know, not hard.
Yeah. Okay, now, seems to be a trend that's going on, especially in the States with these like super groups forming, you know, Audio Slave.
That name, that word.
Now it's Crash Karma, and you guys are kind of the Canadian super group. How do you feel about having that title?
Well, I don't really like the moniker, to be honest. I mean, it's pretty douchey. We sort of have a ruling, it's okay if other people say it, because, you know, it's just a term that's easily thrown around. But if anyone in the band says it about themselves, we're allowed to hit them hard. So I think it's just that, you know, as you go through your career as a musician, you become very comfortable in your own skin, and you're drawn to those that are similarly well-adjusted.
Yeah.
So, you know, like people have asked me in the past, you know, well, what would you do if you weren't a musician? And I'm like, what? What do you mean? Well, if you weren't a musician, what would you be? I'm like, well, that's like saying, what would you be if you weren't a boy?
Yeah.
Like, I'm a musician. What I do for money might be something else entirely. But you're a musician, first and foremost. It's not what you do, it's what you are. So if it's what you are and you know, you're not in the Tea Party anymore.
Yeah.
You're still a musician, and if, you know, the opportunity to play arises, then you go and play. And if it works, great, you go with it. So,
Always, once a musician, always a musician, right?
yeah, I mean, I'll be a musician till I die.
Yeah.
Hopefully I'll get a little better.
This fighting is mad, but I'm not mad. And now I'm free falling.
Now, I want to talk about the album, Crash Karma. It's a self-debut title. Now, first of all, this cover, it's pretty unique. How did this come across, having all four of you guys?
That was I'm a big fan of album artwork. We were told, you should put portraits of yourselves on there because people should know who's in the band. And I'm like, yeah, I've never been on the cover of a record in my life. I'm not fond of it. So the idea of it being a portrait without it being a portrait, it being a portrait in a gallery kind of vibe, we actually were stealing from a band called the Manic Street Preachers, a record called Everything Must Go. And that's sort of how they achieved it. So that was the concept of it. And funnily, that's the guy sitting there is a friend of mine, Joe. Well, Joe Manchisi, and he plays with a band called Sixer with 3 X's in it, which is a band I produced.
Okay.
So somebody said, we should get this guy with lots of tattoos. I was like, you know the guy.
You know the guy, yeah. He's shoulder to hand and tattoo.
He is pretty much jawline to knuckles.
Really, eh?
He's out of real estate completely.
I thought for a second, if that's one of the band members, that's pretty intense.
But you know the funny thing is, he is the most gentle, nice guy you'd ever meet. To see him, he's a little bit terrifying. He's a big guy and he's completely tattooed.
Yeah.
But he's a nice guy. Don't judge a book by its cover.
They always are, right? Yeah.